Give y'all a minute to get up in here. I'm just doing a real quick live stream. Not gonna be long at all. What's good? How are my Freedom Marchers doing? This is Tyrus Bane. Welcome to the Freedom March channel. We're today on the 25th of May, 2022. I'm going to talk about the Uvalde, Texas incident. Okay, I'm going to talk about that, but more specifically, I'm going to talk about the typical response from certain individuals in politics and in the media, and movie stars and all these idiots. All right, most of you know that 19 children and 2 adults were slain in an incident in an elementary school in Uvalde, all right, Texas, by this lone gunman. I forgot his name, but that's not really relevant right now. It's an 18-year-old kid. Of course, it's an 18-year-old kid, right? Just like the last one at the Tops grocery store was a 19-year-old kid. Of course, it's a kid under 21. All this other bullshit. Now, I'm not going to speak to the validity of the news coverage of this here incident. I'm not even going to talk about what was done there necessarily. Like I just said, I just mentioned what happened. 19, supposedly, 19 children were killed. 2 adults were killed, including the shooter's grandmother. Okay, for whatever reason, the grandmother had to go. Now, I really want to get into, because we know what happens in incidents like this, right? There's really nothing to talk about other than how sad and tragic it is that these children had to perish in that manner. That's really devastating. I have 6 children myself, and I don't know what I would do if this happened to my children. But what I want to talk about is how, of course, these politicians are using this tragedy to try to push the further infringement of our freedoms, when it doesn't even make sense in this incident. It does not make sense in this situation, right? In terms of gun control. Gun control is not even, there's no purpose talking about it when it comes to a school shooting. And I don't even have to talk about the many different means of gun control these idiots want to spew, or how they talk about it, whether they're talking about deer running around with Kevlar vest, or who needs this many rounds and that many, who needs a fully semi-automatic weapon. What is a fully semi-automatic weapon, by the way? Oh, who needs an assault weapon? This, that, and the third. All these talking points. When it comes to school shootings, and when it came to the incident in New York, in Buffalo, none of it is relevant. None of these talking points even make sense. You know why? Particularly the school, and particularly the Tops grocery store in Buffalo, because what are the main components here? What made this so possible, right? Any form of gun control you want to talk about in regards to these situations are irrelevant, because the school in question is a gun-free zone, meaning you're not even allowed to have a firearm on campus. So that means every form of gun control that you can ever fathomly think about, that you could ever fathom, that you could ever contemplate, is in place at this school, because you can't even have them. It's like going to the UK. There is no form of gun control that they could add that would do anything, because you are not even allowed to carry a firearm on campus. You're not even allowed to carry a firearm outside of your house in New York unless you have a permit. So these shooters completely disregarded every form of gun control that you could ever contemplate before they carry out their attacks. There's nothing even to discuss or debate. This did not happen at a gun show. This did not happen. Or it happened in Texas, where you have permitless carry, but you're not even allowed to use that permit in the school. No one, except for a peace officer or whatever. There's nothing to talk about here other than what can we do to empower the people to ensure that something like this never happens, or that it doesn't go this far. If any of the staff, let's say the staff were allowed to carry firearms in the school, they were trained and they had to go through continuous training, right? You know, they had to go to the range, had to go through scenarios. Maybe they had to take a teacher day, or people free day, where the pupils go home, the students go home, so that the teacher can go over and drill what needs to be done in case of an incident like this. And they can also have a day where they train with the students. They drill it. Okay, the students, you go into this corner, and I'll cover you over here. Blah blah blah. That's what the thing that should be happening. That's what we should be talking about. That's what we should be talking about. We should not be talking about, oh, we need more gun control. Oh, you don't need a rifle. There's no deer running around with a Kevlar vest. Oh, this is nonsense. We need more common sense gun control. And what? You had every ounce, every form of gun control that could be possibly thought of on that school campus. And what did it do? In the Tops grocery store. In the Tops grocery store. Every imaginable form of gun control that you could think about in New York. Background checks, waiting periods, may issue instead of shall issue. You got to have a good reason. You can't leave the house with your firearm in your fucking car in New York. And I'm pretty sure there is something about you can't go in the grocery stores with a firearm, even if you had a permit in New York. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on it. If somebody want to research that real quick and put it in the chat, I will greatly appreciate it. But nothing. There's nothing you could have thought of. There's nothing in terms of restrictions that would have stopped what happened in Buffalo and in Uvalde. Nothing in terms of restrictions. But you know what could have stopped it? Armed individuals who had good intentions, that want to actually protect children, that want to protect other people, that want to protect themselves. Empowerment. That's how you stop criminals. You empower the would-be victims. You empower them. You don't say, you know what? Oh, these victims, you could be a victim of a shooter. Let me take your firearm away. Let me take your good ass firearm away from your good self, where you have no intention of harming anyone. We're going to take your shit away, and we're going to restrict you. We're going to stop you from being able to defend yourself by any means necessary. We're going to continue to add types of firearms and firearm parts to the firearm or whatever the fuck list. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do whatever we can possible to ensure that you are a victim in order to prevent you becoming a victim of a shooter. Where they do that at? What was it? It makes zero sense. If you have permitless carry in Texas, but the schools, you are not allowed to carry your firearm, then once you enter that school, you are under every form of gun control imaginable. Why am I repeating myself in different ways? Because it's obviously not getting through to some people that you cannot protect people by taking their means of defense away. Oh, well, what about gun thefts? What about this? It's just going to happen. What about that? Oh, well, guess what? Shit happens, man. People's cars get stolen and they get used in drive-by shootings. People's cars get stolen and they hit people and kill them. People drive drunk and kill people. But are you going to are you going to outlaw beer? Are you going to outlaw cars? Might as well. Because a motherfucker can kill you with a car. When that motherfucker in Washkushka, or wherever the hell you call that place, Waukesha in Wisconsin, or where was that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Waukesha incident. When that happened, did you hear these motherfuckers say, we need common sense car control? We need common sense car control. No, they won't tell you that. When the motherfucker in Germany killed 27, 37 people with a truck on a bridge, which, by the way, they stopped with a firearm, did they say, we need common sense truck control? No. Hands and feet. More people die by hands and feet than with assault weapons. Do they say we need a hand and feet weapon? We need a hand and feet ban? No, they don't say that. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. But you know why they do it with guns? Because guns go bang. Not only do they go bang, but they can be used against who? Your government. People who are fed up with their government tyranny can use firearms as a means to dismantle that tyrannical government. And that's what they're concerned about. That's why it's all about gun control. That's why it's not about car control. That's why it's not about truck control. That's why it's not about hands and feet control. That's why it's not about knife control, except for in certain states. Because they don't want you to be able to unseat their asses with your firearms. That's why they want only police officers and soldiers to have them, law enforcement. But, I was watching Tim Pool. He made a great point about police officers, man. He talked about two incidents where one, a cop pulled over a guy. This happened recently. I'm going to have to look into this because he just brought it up today and I need to do a little research on it. But a guy got pulled over. The police officer says, show me your hand. When the guy goes to show the police officer his hands, he gets shot. The police officer shoots the guy who he said, show me your hands. And also, there was an incident where, hold on. Oh, there was an incident where a cop pulled over a guy, right? Told the guy get out the car and said, show me your ID. Now, this is what Tim Pool said. I got to look into it. He goes toward the car to show the ID. The police shoot him. And this is what y'all want? Is this what people want? All this talk about gun control, when you have these incidents, these mass incidents, are completely pointless, because 9 times out of 10, these mass incidents happen in places where you can't, it's a gun-free zone. This shit happens in gun-free zones. Now, the shit that happened in Columbia, South Carolina, in the mall, that was a greatly limited shooting because other people were carrying and they shot back. So that shit ended quickly and no one got killed. That's what happens when you're in a place where other people can carry. You get in an argument with somebody, you think you jumping bad, you think you're gonna be a badass, pull your shit out, but that motherfucker got one too. It's going to greatly limit the damage you can do. Anyway, let me see what y'all talking about real quick. Let me get out of here. I gotta get in the house. Fancy Truth was good. Shot Killings, how you doing? Buck Nasty, how you doing, man? I love living in South Carolina. I love it. I love it. The trees, the green, the slowness, the quiet. You know what I'm saying? The relatively greater amount of freedoms I can enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to protection. You know what I'm saying? With no issue, I ain't got to worry about nothing. Christopher Alexander was good. Old head Deuce, all up in the building. Carl Trumbley, I ain't seen you in a minute. The Hobbit Kai, have you seen the 4chan supremacists are celebrating this because it's Hispanics? Idiots. That's the type of shit that, see, when you have these idiots like that, these conservatives that, oh, look, it was a Mexican. Oh, look, it was a black man. Oh, it wasn't a white guy. What you got to say now? That's the dumb shit that keeps us from progressing how we need to progress. And I'm not talking about like a progressive would think, a conservative, like a democratic progressive. I'm talking about an actual progressive who wants to progress toward freedom. That's what keeps everybody from getting where we need to get, saying stupid shit like that. Let's see if it was a black man or a white man. Oh, it wasn't a white man. Oh, what, they ain't gonna say nothing. Like, it's stupid. Exactly. Disarm the government. Sounds like a slice of heaven, man. Shouting at clouds was good. It's all good, Shot Killings. The Movement 25 says Michael Swanson might do a live show on Mighty Mouse tonight. Come on if you got time. I will, man. I just got to get that notification. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. And remember, let's keep marching forward toward freedom. And when these idiots talk to you about, oh, we need common sense gun control when these incidents occur, say every form of gun control was already in place in that instance, and it did nothing. It's safe to say that 3 million additional people that have been put in Texas over the past 10 years are not cream of the crop. It is what it is. But much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.